Okay. I think it's ready to go. I'll close the outside door.
This is on bingo right now?
No, it's on the floor.
This is the 4?
Yeah.
That was so bad. Sorry.
I'll count you back in.
In Regina, Amy Vandermullen records a show on community TV about a sensitive topic close to her.
Good afternoon and welcome back to The 4. Today my guest is Kristen and she's from Atakakut First Nation. Welcome, Kristen. Today we're talking about the Essure coils. What can you tell me about your procedure and when did your decision start?
About maybe 5 years ago or so, I started noticing little things like headaches, dizziness, things like that.
The segment is about Essure, or Essure, a permanent birth control implant that was sold to Canadian women from 2002 to 2017. It's a 2-centimeter coil inserted into each fallopian tube. Scar tissue is supposed to form around the coil, closing off the tubes and preventing sperm from meeting an egg. Essure was promoted as a faster and safer alternative to women getting their tubes tied. No surgery, no scarring, and it's over in 15 minutes at the doctor's office. About 10,000 Canadian women bought the pitch, then problems started to emerge.
My health has gone crazy.
In 2018, a Fifth Estate investigation revealed serious complications for some women implanted with Essure. The agency charged with protecting us, Health Canada, didn't publicly share what it knew about these problems. The coils are no longer on the market in Canada or anywhere else in the world, but the symptoms and the suffering haven't gone away.
I hope other women will reach out so I can maybe help guide them and send them in the right direction, just to be that added support for other women.
Amy has her own story of debilitating symptoms after being implanted with Essure coils.
I was hospitalized numerous times throughout the years because it was so bad. Headaches were really bad, the cramping, I was having thyroid issues, just a laundry list of symptoms.
Wow. What was that decision like to have a hysterectomy?
Choosing to have a hysterectomy, sorry. Was like losing a baby all over again. It was very much, I believe, needed because I just wanted the pain to stop. I wanted the excessive bleeding just to be done.
Amy wasn't alone in resorting to a hysterectomy to stop the pain.
It's like somebody just took a knife and pushed it and twisted it. I was stuck either on the couch or in fetal position in my bed.
This was more than 2 years ago when the Fifth Estate first spoke with Carrie Ponace. At the time, she was on a wait list for a hysterectomy. A previous attempt to remove her coils left a piece of metal in her uterus.
This stuff shouldn't have to happen. All because I wanted a birth control. I have no more tears. Like, I used to cry about it and I was emotional and I was hurt and I was upset. And now I'm just mad. I'm angry that I had to put up with all this.
Today, Carrie is trying to get on with her life in Regina. Doctors removed the Essure coils and remaining fragments.
When we spoke to you a couple of years ago, you were really struggling with your health. How are you these days?
Well, since then, my uterus has been taken out. I showed you guys a little metal shard that was left in my uterus that was causing a lot of damage and making it hard for me to walk. I didn't know it was gonna feel that bad. I didn't know I was gonna be stuck in my bed for as many years as I was, and Essure is like the worst thing I've ever been through.
When we come back,
Why did it seem their symptoms weren't taken seriously?
All the doctors say it's not Essure.
There can't be all these women making up that they have pain.
Since our first reporting on Essure, Health Canada has publicly released 98 complaints of side effects, but there are hundreds more who've turned to Canadian Facebook groups in their search for answers about Essure and to validate that their pain is real. Toronto Dr. Sari Kivas is a gynecologist with expertise in contraception. We heard from a lot of women that they were experiencing pain after their coils were implanted.
Chronic pelvic pain is hard. I think that a lot of women find that they're not necessarily always being heard when they complain of chronic pelvic pain and pain that persists. But I think that when you start to see a group of individuals having a similar side effect with a similar procedure, that you have to take it seriously and appreciate that obviously there can't be all these women making up that they have pain after the Essure.
To date, more than 700 Canadian women have gone after Essure's owner for compensation. Toronto lawyer Renee Vanette and her firm represent 100 women who've been suffering complications.
These women go to their doctors and they have complaints, and all the doctors say, it's not Essure, or they say, it's all in your head.
Bayer doesn't admit any liability, but it's agreed to pay $1.6 billion to settle thousands of lawsuits in the US, but nothing so far in Canada. Bayer Canada declined an interview with the Fifth Estate, but in a statement said the settlement in the US reflects a commercial decision. It has no impact on pending Canadian litigation, and Bayer intends to defend itself vigorously.
We simply have to go through the litigation process just to get some sort of justice for these women who have lost so much as a result of a product that should have never been on the market.
These women's complaints are now backed up by new data collected by Bayer as mandated by the United States Food and Drug Administration. The study of 1,100 women found 4.5% of them who had tubal ligation experienced chronic pain, but for those with Essure, it was double, 9%. And 10% of women with tied tubes had abnormal bleeding. That was 16% for women with Essure. And the probability that women would have the coils removed after 21 months was 1 in 7. Not the safer, permanent procedure it was billed to be.
Why did it seem like their symptoms weren't taken seriously by the medical system?
Doctors just weren't informed. They were left in the dark, just as these patients or women were left in the dark as well about really what were the risks and benefits of the Essure product and what that meant for them long term.
Critics say sharing reports of side effects has long been a problem with Essure. Even as recently as last summer, Bayer was found to have sat on thousands of women's complaints of injuries that it failed to disclose to the FDA. They came out only after U.S. women filed lawsuits against Bayer. The company disputes it was obliged to report those complaints and that some were actually duplicates.
If we had have known that there were many patients who were experiencing difficulty, we could have been looking into this and investigating it much more diligently in the early years of this device.
Dr. Nicholas Leyland initially embraced Essure, implanting about 100 women with coils in Hamilton. He's also removed some of them.
Did you yourself have to ever report any adverse events to Health Canada?
So in fact, not until the patients came back for removal. But in fact, this is a huge deficiency in the system in the United States as well as in Canada, because it's voluntary reporting of any adverse events, and many of the doctors really don't know the definition of what an adverse event would be associated with such a procedure.
After a series of stories on medical devices, Health Canada has changed the rules, making it mandatory for hospitals to report any side effects from medical devices like Essure.
It's hard for them to find a doctor who understands what they're going through. So if the doctors aren't accepting it, I don't know how Health Canada would be able to gather the information that they need. Is simply not being collected or appears not to be collected properly and not being reported.
Who do you ultimately see as accountable for what went wrong here?
Of course, it's probably easy to say, go straight to the top. But ultimately, when you see a family doctor or you see your initial gynecologist, those are the ones that I feel may have failed us.
They can move around now.
As for Carrie, she may never feel the same, but she's recovered an important part of her life.
I can jog with my kids. I can take my kids to the park. I can spend quality time with them. They're not constantly seeing mom in pain. I can move on and move forward, hopefully in my life.